Hi, I'm Old Sneelock. Welcome to another episode of Old Sneelock's Workshop. Well, I have the paint on. It's not ready to assemble yet because the paint is still a little wet. So, I'll show you what I've done up to now. I spent a tedious amount of time putting tape on these parts just to find that the camera had gone off. But that's okay. No harm done. I've polished up the jaws just with a wire brush. I'm not going to get real involved in this because this is going to be a working vise. I do want it to look nice, but I'm not going to polish them. Same thing here. All I did was wire brush the heads of the bolts so that they were clean and looking good. Screw thread, wire brushed, shined up, rust removed. Now clean off the bench here. Second coat. Now it's time for an inspection. This looks pretty good. This looks great. Oh, there's a little spot there. It's not quite coated completely. Needs another coat. There's a spot that needs to be done again. So, these two are out of the paint booth. These two need a little bit more work. I'm going to try something new. You guys remember this little paint shaker that Louis sent me the pieces for, and 65 Ford designed? At least that's where I first saw it. You slip the can in there and then spin it. And it rattles that little stone or BB or marble or whatever it is inside there and stirs up the paint. Well, I'm going to try something new. I want to paint the letters on that little vise. And I have this Rust-Oleum protective enamel, oil-based satin white. And I'm going to use that to highlight the letters. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to put it in here and use this to shake it up. Definitely spinning in there. Now this has been sitting for a number of years over on the shelf, not being used. So now we're going to find out just how well it stirred up, if it did at all. Well, it looks good. Yeah. I think that worked pretty good. Louis, you have another winner. Okay, let's try this on the lettering on that vise. Now this particular skill is not one of my best. So I'm going to do what I can to try and get the tips of these letters highlighted. Now I like Scout Crafter's method best, where he uses a somewhat rigid paint applicator to just hit the tips. But I am literally drawing the letters on there because the casting is very pitted. So I'm having to bridge over voids in the letter just to get it to show up as what the letter should show up. Fair to middling. These are beyond hope. I'm afraid I would destroy all the good work I've done trying to make something that I probably shouldn't be attempting in the beginning. Now this is a much larger area. Not my best work, not my worst either. For a couple of years I ran crews that sorted parts for the automotive industry, and one of the criteria that we ended up with that was actually something out of the automotive industry is if you held it at arm's length and you couldn't see the defect, it didn't happen. It's not there. That was an A surface. B surfaces you didn't even look. This one, that's pretty close. That's pretty close to an arm's length. I mean, both arms. It looks okay. Not perfect. Good enough. Now, a Scout Crafter probably would think, not quite so much. But I'm happy with it. Scout Crafter would honestly not say anything though, because he's that kind of a guy. He might not tell you, oh, it looks great, but he's not going to say, oh, that's horrible. And now that I have the white done, and I know I'm not going to be going back and putting another coat of black on this, I can take the tape off, because you want to do that fairly soon. Even though this is the green tape that's supposed to be easier to work with, you don't want to leave it on there for a couple of days. It starts getting pretty sticky. Might find it hard to believe, but this is 3 days work. This is 3 days of cleaning, taping, painting, touch-up painting, highlighting, and more touch-up painting. If you have any suggestions for a new video, questions about today's video, or any of the other videos on the channel, just drop a note in the comments. You know I read them all. Thanks for watching. This video is not to be viewed by anyone under the age of 13 in the US or 16 in the European Union, without the express written permission of the parents or legal guardians of the underage person. Such written permission must be on file at the local government entity in charge of enforcing the rules and regulations established by the FTC. Anyone violating these terms is admitting by default that they hold harmless the owners and operators of this channel. Any and all questions should be addressed to your local branch of the FTC.